Okay, Jules, you may begin when you want to.
Alright, so I did Spot FT, Chapter 5. Kind of starting with process work. For Professor Marcus, I knew it was kind of like this. I thought at first, like, kind of a slim guy, like elongated, kind of creepy. So I played around with that, and I decided with a kind of elongated triangle, have it going down, and like a long face kind of swoop down. I just like kind of creepy looking, I think. Then I added a scarf. And that's Professor Marcus. Then for Major Courtney, I started him out as like, he's kind of a bigger guy, so I started him as a rectangle. But then I thought, okay, he's not really that edged since he's kind of like that kind of toothpaste. So I rounded his edges because he can be sweet but still kind of be mean at the same time. And I added a little mustache and this little bow tie so you can identify him. Then Mr. Harvey, I knew I wanted him to be thin, kind of slender, so I used a trapezoid, kind of long, added a tie and a hat so you know that's what he is. And one round, I knew I wanted him to be big. I mean, his one round are muscles. So, and then I identified his hands because like that's what he's known for in the sense. Then Mr. Harry, he's kind of this weird, kind of awkward guy, just kind of long, nothing really to him. But then I just added a thin tie just so you can recognize him. And then the old lady. So I started like sweet little old lady, kind of small. So I added her as pink because she like wears a lot of pink, I feel like. And then she had a little collar, so you definitely can notice in a little dress. So then my first scene, this is like when she first comes to the door with T. So I just kind of like got all the main characters, kind of established the door. And then I added a little bit more detail. I put the T like red because that's how she manipulates that. And so I really wanted like that to be a focus point because without that, I mean, she's using that to her advantage. So adding a little bit more detail, and this is my final scene. Kind of adding all the instruments and bows and all the little things because they have to like act like they're playing. So they really don't know what to do with them, so they're just like kind of awkwardly holding them. And then this next scene is when she's in the room and she's like telling them about the queen, and they have no idea what she's talking about. So they all kind of have this puzzled face, like. And then Major Courtney, he's kind of like that con artist, so he's like trying to act like he's involved, but like still didn't really care. So adding a little bit more detail, just kind of like the back, like the room, and then the final scene, having the violin and viola, whatever. The gangster, holding like doesn't know how to use. I thought that was kind of funny. And then for my next scene, this is when they're like deciding if they should use Old Lady in the con, and Professor is like wanting this to happen at this moment because it's down to one round and he's getting intense, and so I added more detail. But then for my final scene, I added a face because he wanted, like, he's just like creeping over with this little smirk because he wanted this to happen because he knew, like I thought that he knew, since if you brought it down to one round, the gangster would like say no, that's not right, and start calling him like a big baboon. So I made the professor like that because he like wanted it to happen. He's like already had pre-planned because it was his plan. He wants that to be final and no one else to like override him. So that's my final thing.
I really liked how all your scenes, you did like focus on the characters and like subtle backgrounds. Showed a lot of depth.
Thank you.
I thought for your character, or for like your first slide, you used a lot of outlining for your characters and everything, and it was kind of, from like reading it from a distance, it was kind of just a lot of lines in places. So I think if you maybe use more of your colors, it would be a lot more like readable. and one.
Okay, yeah.
But otherwise, I thought everything was really good. And really cool.
Thank you.
I think on this scene, I'm a little confused of like who's who besides the two guys on the left. Like, I would like to be able to see like the red tie or something. And also with the arms, in your process work, you just had one round with the arms. But is that somebody else or is that one round right there?
Yeah, I did think of that. Like,
Because I mean, he's the only one that really has arms. So I think in like also your last scene that he's like holding something, you don't need that. Just set it there. Because he's the only person that really has it as like their character parts. So like I'm getting confused on like which character is which.
okay, yeah.
I'm not actually confused because I know that, you know, the one is the slender character has got to be, you know, I've only got two that aren't facing me, and I know the slender one's going to be the Spiv, but I think that there is a little more you can do in terms of distributing things here, but the overall composition of this is really nice too. I mean, I wouldn't want to lose a lot. I wouldn't want to change a lot from this, but maybe if you could make those characters to the right, what, in profile or in some,
Just do a
shift
little
them in some way.
Mhm.
Matt maybe has a suggestion on that.
This is a comment. You do have very interesting perspectives set up throughout your sides, and I'm just gonna piggyback off Christina's things with the arms. That last one you really like.
Yeah, okay.
Suggestion with the arms is maybe that, like, in your process work, you had one round with the circle arms. Maybe for, like, them, you could, like, do just a plain rectangle or something like that. Just change it from the circles.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the characters, because they are kind of like getting lost a little bit because there's so many outlines, have you played with making the walls in the room the light pink instead? Like, she's like pink in the couches, but maybe the wall behind the characters, just so then they pop out.
Yeah, my final scene, the third one, it was all pink. I decided not to do that because I didn't really want to, I felt like it was all pink, it kind of like lose everything else. I did play with that, so I just thought it wouldn't, I wanted you to focus on other things instead of like this whole thing of pink, I guess.
Yeah, you don't want to lose the sense of honing in on her with her tea tray.
Yeah.
And so that's a choice. Can we see the other scene again? The other final scene?
Next one.
Mhm.
I have a question
Yeah.
about that one. Why is his arms muscles too, or is that Oh, okay. That's what Christina was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to switch
Yeah, yeah.
arms.
Okay.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
So I used like the pink background here because I thought like it was kind of like this. I guess pink is, I didn't really think it was like dark, but it was kind of like a dark moment. I thought white wasn't really appropriate, and I couldn't use another color. If it was red, it would be way too overwhelming. So I thought pink would be a little bit more better, just because there wasn't really a whole lot going on in the scene. Yeah.
I like how in this one you made one round's made his posture
Yes.
so straightforward because it really shows like his emotion towards Mrs. Wilberforce. So I like how you did that.
You've really done a lot here in conveying the body language with just these tiny, geometric shapes. It's really amazing. I think the other thing is you really have also shown here you understand the significance of your chapter, because it is this ability to manipulate one round that moves the plot a couple of places. And it's when he refuses to be manipulated and he becomes a more active figure in the plot that the plot changes significantly. So it shows a really good grasp of the significance of your particular chapter too. I like this scene a lot. Other questions and comments? Very good, Joyce.